Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Fallout New Vegas. So, we have run into kind of a stalemate with the NCR and the Legionnaires. It seems like there is a war quest that I want to upgrade all these ranger stations for first. And then at that point, that's going to start this war quest where Camp Forlorn Hope is going to try and attack Nelson. And at that point, I think you're probably going to officially choose sides and actually be at war with the Legion. Whereas right now, going to Nelson still has the Legion being willing to talk to you and interact with you instead of just attacking you on sight. So to do this war quest though, we would have to properly visit this location that's way over here, this location, and this location that's way over here. So we're just not going to do that. So it's better to, and we can't do anything about this one right now either. It's better to just check out this ranger station, then move the main story forward to Boulder City. And I think we are just going to work our way towards the middle of New Vegas, and it seems like nothing's really going to stop us. It is questionable just how far we've really progressed this game. Another thing, as my theme of playing this game has been an old game highlighting gameplay mechanics, specifically Bethesda games, that just don't work in modern times. Well, I'm playing with a controller, and so we can bring up the controls. There is, with keyboard, a way on at least other Bethesda games, and probably this one too. Yeah, there is a grab. So, if I was to click right stick on something, let's see if we can find anything we can actually grab. We'd probably have to drop something first. You can grab it and drag it around. That system is basically exclusively used so that you can mess with the default location of items in a way to move them to a different location, probably to steal them without being caught stealing them. And it really is just a system that doesn't need to exist. It doesn't get used except for when you're doing that one gimmick, really. That's... Okay, there's a Ranger Station Delta here. It must be... It must be underground. It must be like a cave or something that you go into. So we're gonna have to spin around this tower. Yeah, it would be very, very easy to not have the grab ability, and the grab ability itself still doesn't, I think, consistently have you eliminate the potential loss of what's down there, karma if you steal something. My survival skills as far as cooking and such are still particularly low, and even though about half of these can be crafted, you still would need to be carrying a ridiculous amount of extra items. Let's see what we look like these days. Our appearance has not changed much. I would like the appearance to perhaps evolve more dynamically based on just how much you have leveled up, or how much damage you've taken. All those things would probably be somewhat annoying too, but yeah. There are games like Fable, as far as role-playing games, where that happens. Eating too much food makes you fatter. Things like that.
No sudden moves and you and I will do all right. What do you want?
It's like every single ranger has a mustache.
Best of the best. That's all there is to it. Really nothing more to
We'll
say
exhaust
than that.
all the dialogue here.
Keeping watch on the river and looking for anyone trying to cross it. The Legion likes to send infiltration teams over on rafts. See you around.
And so these ranger stations themselves are not really much of anything. We need to talk to the comms officer and give a new code. Here's a great example of a character's hair
just walk around this place.
who is
There better be a good reason
too
for
bright,
being
too
here.
clean for the rest of the color palette.
Very well. You can tell Reyes that this station is secure. Well, when there's trouble regular NCR troops can't handle, they send in a ranger. Problem solved. We're also responsible for keeping the borders of the NCR secure, scouting out threats, that sort of thing.
I almost wonder if
I'm
there's
in
going to be
charge
a
of the radio,
quest
hence the title comm
where we
officer.
run back
I'd
to
much
all
rather be
these
out on patrol since
locations.
nothing much happens around here. Ma'am.
Hey.
I recently watched some footage of what the current state of The Witcher 3 is and how much they've optimized a lot of the systems in The Witcher 3, which that's another game that originally had a lot of going into the menu and a lot of management, and they now have optimized it where you're just automatically picking up herbs if you want, and you can craft and prepare for battles while still in the main gameplay section. You're not having to go into a menu. I guess this would lead straight to the Hoover Dam by the looks of it, or a dead end. A robo-brain. We haven't seen these before. I wonder if these guys are fairly common around the Hoover Dam. So here we found another scenic outlook, and we can actually see the Hoover Dam, but I do believe we probably aren't going to be encouraged to go there. That feels like that's a no-go zone. In fact, this whole section here feels like I'm gonna have to struggle to just jump to get out of it. Let's see if we can go this way. No, it all seems very blocked off. This is a nicer view than what the scenic outlook was labeled. One thing definitely that I got a feeling from watching just even a few minutes of gameplay of The Witcher 3 is just a heavy reminder of how, even though that is a sword, Witcher has two swords, a steel sword and a silver sword. Silver swords for monsters, steel for humans. the action in that game is so much higher. They put so much. There's real emphasis on the animations. There's a real action twist. Where are we going? Still kind of going the wrong way. Does seem like we're just gonna end up at Hoover Dam. Might as well just keep going in this direction. There might be something that we unlock as far as quests going to Hoover Dam anyways. They're just gonna let me walk right in. And here we have Ranger just walking here. Let's go into the visitor center and see what we find.
I'm not sure I'll ever learn everything there is to know about this place.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is just the end location. There was very much a water purification plant that was similar to this in Fallout 3.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
They're in heavy armor. Nobody behind the counter. Here we have a snow globe. So we've now found 2 out of, I believe, 10 snow globes. We have really no business being here yet, though. There certainly is a question as far as how locked out would you have been from entering this section if you had sided with the Legion. I'm just assuming that this way is supposed to be the direction you're supposed to go, but there really is nothing here. And we're not even going to get a fast travel to the Hoover Dam. Finally, had to walk a little bit closer. Even by the Bethesda standards, though. Oh, there's a huge cannon here. Like, somebody should have walked up to me and talked to me. Somebody should identify themselves as being the person in charge. And none of that is happening.
Hello.
If we were on this quest, still would be a very long journey to get that way. And increasingly, I do think I'm playing wrong. It feels like I'm playing wrong because I'm entering these areas and not having the quest telling me why I should be in this area. Interesting. Interesting, there's also a ladder on the outside and the inside. Like here you can see a pathfinding glitch. Seeing a lot of engineers. A lot of spray paint and graffiti in this one section, but noticeably that is totally missing everywhere else. Spirit of 2277. A lot of bathrooms. This is a weird way that you would design a bathroom, that you would just either come in through a ladder, which sounds crazy, or you come upstairs. They're just open air stairs. This is quickly turning into a maze. And the only thing we're gonna find is more stuff we can't really interact with. There's a lot of people here, a lot of engineers. So if there was a unique engineer that we were supposed to be talking to, they would have to have some special outfit for being a special location.
Hello.
Hmm.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
Hmm. You do have that problem here, certainly, where it feels like if I had sided with the Legion, I could have turned this whole location into like a massacre zone, just shooting all these engineers. But I imagine they wouldn't have had very many guns or things that would have made them very formidable as a enemy. So storyline wise, here we have a way too clean of a location. What it occurs to me is that we could see the NCR deciding to be evil by blowing up the dam and flooding the river. That would temporarily get rid of the Legion, while permanently causing major problems. So yeah, this definitely feels like maybe if the Legion overran that whole facility, we might have a excuse to run through all of this. But this is way too big. So I'm just gonna run back, fast travel back to this section, which is not something you can really do in real life, so that destroys the role-playing concept quite a bit. And in favor, we are just going to Boulder City to move the main story forward. Now, I would assume every time I hear that explosion, that is supposed to be the cannon in the background going off. This angle slightly too high. You know, for as much as Bethesda loves its procedural generation, something about their terrain, or in this case it would be Obsidian more, their terrain is still not procedurally generated correctly, in that there are places where you can bunny hop your way through, and then there are places where you very obviously cannot climb up. Is this Boulder City? Or is this just some other location? Rad scorpions. Still attacking. Not real challenges. My gun's still pretty bad, though. Undoubtedly, I am going through a lot of bullets. Now, this one-handed gun, I think, does help when you don't really want to go in the vats as much. But yeah, undoubtedly, I'm wasting a lot of bullets because my gun skills are just so incredibly low. And I'm still 100% dependent on Eddie, my flying robot companion I bought. So where are we? Apparently we're just not in the center of Boulder City enough. While we're here, let's see. Do we even have the caravan trader outfit on us? No.
A customer. Not many people come into Boulder City these days.
Tell me about Boulder City.
Most of the town is rubble, destroyed during the Battle of Hoover Dam. And the only other thing around here is the concrete mixing yard.
What's the concrete used for?
The NCR has been constructing bunkers up and down the river. From what I've heard, it's a little late for that. Travelers over at the 188, just up the road, said that the Legion has overrun a couple of towns to the south.
And not really getting a lot of information from that.
Most of the limestone comes from Quarry Junction out west, but I hear some death claws overran the quarry. With no work to be had, all the workers around here have wandered off. I'm the only one left in town.
So we, in 3 conversations,
What can I get
got
you?
1 map marker. Seems pretty obvious. I would like that to be a higher trade. Nuka-Cola Quartz. It was a Nuka-Cola Quantum, I think is what it was called. Now, what do we want to sell to offset all of that? Well, first of all, let's make sure we don't have any miscellaneous stuff we can sell. And then I think because I dumped so much stuff and I really just haven't picked up anything, we will be selling drugs. Pre-war money would be another option, but I think drugs make a lot of sense. Sell that. Magazines are not of real value. I may not have enough drugs to sell either. You know, that is also a thought. So it means just perhaps I've been carrying drugs that have had too high of a value, too high of a weight. No, no, that wouldn't be the case because drugs don't have a weight. So if I had 100 or if I had 50, it would all be the same. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna give him the caps. There's not enough things that I've collected, so we'll come back and trade with him later.
Come back real soon.
Everything around here would be just stealing. Opening that door would irritate him. So we found Boulder City.
Hello.
We have somebody to talk to, looking at some kind of memorial.
You here to pay your respects too?
Hmm.
It commemorates the Battle of Hoover Dam. The Rangers lured the best of Caesar's Legion into Boulder City, then blew the whole town up. The NCR still lost a bunch of troops in the fighting, though. My older brother sacrificed himself so they could evacuate some of the wounded. Don't worry about it. Camp McCarran, but I'm on leave at the moment, heading back to California to see my folks. I'm supposed to join up with a caravan that's heading that way up at the 188. They're not due to arrive for a while yet. Bye.
So that kind of leaves you with nothing new, but at least that's some verbal information instead of expecting the player to try and read all of this, because a significant number of players would not do that. They would just walk by it. They may not even notice it. So we do have a hint here that the NCR is willing to do some desperate things as far as blowing up Boulder City, so that would more in line with my thought that they may decide to try and blow up Hoover Dam. Not really sure what else you do here.
We've got a situation with some great cons right now. The brass at McCarran has ordered me to lock down the ruins until it's been resolved.
Okay, so now we're going to finally fight the Great Khans, which I'm not sure that they are the same as the Legion, or if they are just a completely different faction.
One of my patrols was on its way back from Novak when it came under fire from the Great Khans. They radioed for reinforcements, but instead of waiting for us, they chased the Khans into the ruins where they were caught in a crossfire. No deaths, but not all the squad got out. The Khans have Private Ackerman and Private Gilbert as hostages.
Let's see. Sneak is low. Negotiation would be my best guess.
Normally I'd turn you down since I have no idea who you are. But considering that the hostages are as good as dead when we attack. Alright. I'm going to give you a chance to talk to the Great Khans. Their leader is a man named Jessup. If we hear shooting, we'll be coming in. But it'll probably be too late for you. Good luck.
So now we have a quest. Let's first of all remove the marker. Set this. That didn't help. I have to actually look at the map to see where I'm going. Okay. So apparently there's more of a area that's being blocked off over here. I was going to see if maybe there was something in this building over here, but nope, it seems like it is the same old generic empty building. This design is reused way too much and never has anything too interesting in that. Was there a trap there? I don't know what I just got hit with. Like I don't see any remnants of a mine explosion or anything like that. Let's see. So we can activate this Ranger holodisc, but we can't pick it up. Interesting. Alright, well, we're going the other way. It's not really what I was expecting Boulder City to be, although it is a good ironic name for Boulder City, in that it is just a bunch of piles of rocks, or concrete now. Why is the map pointing me in the wrong directions? Yeah. According to this quest, meet with Jessup, leader of the Great Khans in Boulder City. Seems like he should be right here. Do I have to walk here and then wait? So we have a dot here. And then I guess we'll walk back this way and see if maybe Jessup is standing around here. Maybe we needed to talk to the guy some more. This is just Lieutenant
I really
Mora.
don't have time to chatter right. Shoot. It's one of the biggest sources of electrical power in the region, so the NCR's fortified the place pretty heavily. When President Kimball shows up on his inspection tour, I'm sure he'll be confident that the dam's safe and secure. Destroyed during the Battle of Hoover Dam a couple years ago, the town was set up as a trap for Caesar's Legion. The sharpshooters and the Rangers picked off the Legion's veterans from a distance, and the rest of the Legion just rushed on in. Then boom. Camp McCarran is the headquarters for the NCR military in this region. It occupies the old airport next to New Vegas. It's probably just a political thing. You know, give a few speeches, shake hands with the troops, boost morale. They're an outlaw group primarily trafficking in drugs and other contraband. They usually stay out of NCR territory, though. All right.
So that's everything. Everything we knew. Alright, so I guess the general thought that we have to take from this is that we need to just continue going in that direction. And the harvestable plants are still bright green. You would kind of like them to lose their color once they've been picked, or to more accurately, you'd like to see them become little stubs and then grow back up to a much higher height after they're regrown their harvestable fruit. Yeah. Guess we follow this road. That's the best I can think to do as far as the road goes. Well, if I follow the road, this is going to lead me to Ranger Station Delta, where we've already been. If I don't follow the road, it'll lead me up into the hills. What time is it? Maybe there is a time element to the quest I'm not getting. Okay. Meet with Jessup, leader of the Great Khans in Boulder City. Wait an hour. See if that does anything for us. So to me it just seems like the game is pointing us in the wrong direction. So the description says Boulder City. Let's look around and see if we can find anything. Seems like you really can't get into Boulder City. came in on this side. Maybe we talk to the trader. Or maybe we... So this is interesting. I've seen these birds. I'm a little surprised that worked. Since my VATS wouldn't even have locked on that. Got a critical hit on that. So I guess if you need some cheap critical hits, shoot birds. This is not Joseph.
Welcome back to the Bighorn. What can I get you? Come back real soon.
Okay, where would our next quest be? As far as they went out that way. Where's that map pointing me? It's also saying put me in that direction. Maybe that's the problem, is that we have two quests.
Hello again. Is there something you need?
That might be it. That there's just two quests overlapping and contradicting each other. Otherwise, I am just gonna have to start moving to that location, and we'll just have to investigate. But I don't know how much we can even really investigate or go forward, since this is just main story stuff. Dealing with the Great Khans. I mean, this really is just a terrible experience. The game could be messed up like that. For all I know, the Great Khans are supposed to be spawned here, and they've just spawned under the ground. And we have way overshot that. There might be some miscellaneous note here from a long time ago, like this. Yeah. The last thing I think I could do is find that spot. The exact spot. Which seems like it's different this time for this quest. And didn't like wait 12 hours. You know what it probably is. It's probably something much more simplistic than what I'm making it out to be. In that I can probably just walk inside of Boulder City. And there's just a door here. Yeah. That was dumb. So now if we look at the local map, we go, let's go and do the non-main story quest first. Yep. So we'll go unarmed into Boulder City. Boulder City here feels a lot like some of the more north parts of Fallout 3, where you had a very urban environment and much more of a urban guerrilla warfare feel to how you're supposed to play, although that really doesn't work. It didn't work in Fallout 3, and I don't think it would work very well here either. So is this Jessup? Nope, it is just a Great Khan with two men. So let's just see if we can get speech.
What the hell? You're that courier Benny wasted back in Good Springs. You're supposed to be dead. Yeah, about that. Don't have it. Benny stole it. Right
1,000
before he stabbed us
XP.
in the back. He's probably back at the strip by now, laughing at me.
So I just got 1,000 XP for moving the main story forward, which is easily 10 times what you would get on any other side quest, where you're getting roughly 100 XP, and 100 times what you would get from just killing a random enemy, which is usually just somewhere between 1 XP and 50. So even on very easy, well, maybe you get more XP if you play on very hard, but I bet you don't. No, I'm pretty sure you'd get the same amount of XP for every enemy you killed. You might get more enemies if you played on very hard, but none of it matters. It's pretty obvious now. Just moving the quest forward is what's going to get you the vast majority of your XP to level up. And so playing the game all the way through in a speedrun way, if there is a New Game Plus, would be the recommendation. Only, of course, if there's a New Game Plus. If there isn't by default a New Game Plus, and you're not going to use a mod to try and give you a New Game Plus, you still should take your time and try and do everything just so you get that actual storyline and content experience. Otherwise, speedrunning this just to do everything would be really boring. Let's talk about settling things between you and the NCR.
What's to negotiate? The NCR backs off, we walk out of here, nobody gets hurt.
Speech.
I can't believe I'm doing this. But alright, the hostages can go. The NCR had better keep their end of the deal, though. Here, a souvenir for you. It's Benny's lighter. Shove it up his ass when you catch up with him.
That's another 45 XP.
Yeah? On what?
Let's see, what can you tell me about Benny?
He's one of the chairmen, big shots that run the Tops Casino in New Vegas. A friend from the city contacted me with info on a big job. I should have known that the caps were too good to be true, but there was still no way I could pass up the chance.
But you know.
It's just a big fancy poker chip as far as I know. Don't know why anyone would make one out of platinum, though. He's a snake, that's why. He owed us the rest of the pay for the job, so maybe he didn't want to pay up. Fine. Yeah, go on.
So we negotiated that encounter.
Hello.
Instead of fighting the Great Khans, which would have given us almost certainly less XP anyways. McMurphy. We will go ahead and take this and this. I guess this and that. I don't know what happened to McMurphy, but I would assume the other guy shot him. So those two have been freed. This Great Khan has been freed. So this would be a good point, certainly, to see if they really let them go, or if they just go in guns blazing and kill all the Great Khans. Which at a certain level, I can't fully disagree with the NCR going in there and just mowing them down for the drug running and the other kidnapping and shooting that they're going to do in the future. Like, they're not changing their ways, they're not surrendering to prison.
I'm glad you were able to get my people freed, but there's a new problem. I just got orders to take out the Great Khans, hostages or not.
Yep, and it's all gonna just be following orders.
My hands are tied. I can't go against orders, can I?
Good officer here. Integrity.
You're right. The Great Khans are free to go.
So now the Great Khans have accepted me, and so I have yet another faction that like me, and that's yet another 300 XP. And so we've leveled up. 16 points to go. Speech to 60. Makes sense. Survival up by 4, maybe? Repair up by 1. Science to 65. Medicine up by 2, and guns up by 5. I think that's pretty good. I actually just want to come back in here now and just investigate what Boulder City looks like. Seems like there was a decent amount of stuff here.
Hey.
Yeah. It seems like probably because a lot of this is just cut and paste content from Fallout 3. They're not really keen on having you more run around and actually do anything too important in this section. True police stories. Might as well pick up some of this stuff. Yeah, it definitely feels like there's not going to be too much here. One of the things that does occur to me is they could have written some kind of story line reason as to why all these buildings are so repetitive. Like, if there were, for instance, Robco robots that were specifically designed, can't drink water from the hydrants. But yeah, if there were Robco robots that were specifically designed to build buildings, and so they built the exact same buildings over and over again, just one design alone, this at least will give me something that I can lockpick. Get a little bit more XP for all of that. If there were robots, however, that did build houses, and it was always the same design, then storyline wise you would have to question why are they not building new houses now. Let's see. Do I want empty sunset sarsaparillas? No. I guess this would still all just be considered stealing. I'm still not 100% sure that I trust McCarran. I wouldn't be surprised if McCarran and the Legion are all being controlled by the same person, and that this is literally just a game somebody's playing to kill as many low-level troopers as possible, and as many legionnaires as possible. That's a kind of small area.
Thanks for the rescue.
Man, I thought I was dead for sure.
Watch out, Benny. We'll make him pay for stabbing us in the back. Watch out!
Are these two gonna fight each other? Or are they just running away? I think I triggered them to run away for no good reason. Okay. I think we found a book here. Let's go ahead and drink one of those. Yeah, True Police Stories is a magazine. Critical chance plus 10. These really should say temporarily, though. Okay. So quests. Then would be to go still to some very far sections. Ranger Station Alpha, I guess, would be the next place, and then we'll go to the RepCon headquarters. Yeah, it definitely feels like we still very much are in a weird situation where there's a lot of walking to discover new locations that still needs to happen.
Legion can count on that.
So the cons and the other people are just talking to each other peacefully. It does bring about an interesting question as far as, am I getting perhaps rewarded at some very high level?
Fancy meeting you here, friend.
This guy again.
Just rolling along on my spurs. Looks like I just might make it to New Vegas after all. Yep. Guess it's just down to you and Fancy Pants. I wouldn't worry about him. He looks all hat and no cattle, if you ask me. Fancy Pants? No, I ain't seen hide and hair of him since the tussle in Good Springs. I'm sure he ran back to the soft living of New Vegas, though. Yep. This is getting mighty embarrassing. People gonna start to talk. Look me up when you get to New Vegas. I'll buy the first round.
So yeah, this robot is following us pretty obviously, but we don't know why. Who's shooting who? Well, Bark Scorpion. I'm gonna have to hack this safe open. Okay, let's go with sneaking. Exact match. Now, I don't think getting an exact match on the first try gives you extra XP. Otherwise, you would have this unfortunate effect in that it would make a lot of sense to just try a random guess and then see what's in there. Exit and try again on the first shot. That was a decent amount of stuff, but nothing particularly too special. Playing on very easy and having the ability to not get thirsty, I think really ruins what they were going for. Being able to climb up this high is odd considering there's absolutely nothing here. You'd think that there would be a piece of gum or something. Something to reward doing that. Am I over encumbered? Yes, I am. There you go. That solved that for the moment. We'll be over encumbered pretty quickly again. Lunch boxes feel like something that would be important, but I don't think they really are that important. And we have a higher section here. Trail mix. But yeah, that's all that was up here. I was expecting more. I was expecting to get into a building and actually see something. Just a lot of empty Nuka-Cola bottles, some magazines. Yeah, nothing too special. Let's see, on the map, I see something over here to potentially investigate. So, and then you have like the train. And this may be a case where some of these tracks are actually in usable condition. So it may just be a case that we'll actually see some trains moving around. And is this Boulder City, or is this a whole nother location? Nope. This is Boulder City. Yeah, we've made very little progress as far as distance. We still have no reason to actually go over here other than to just follow train tracks and follow roads and see if we find anything. And it looks like reaching that location is gonna be close to impossible. It feels like it's probably on the other side of either the river or the ravine. Yeah. So we can't reach that section. At a certain level, I imagine we are going to find that there might be some very rich, just more developed areas on the other side of the river, and obviously in New Vegas, to balance out what is almost completely a wasteland area, which is mostly what we found. Boulder Beach campground. Campground for who? So these have like crippling attacks. My bats seem to be doing better. So these are lake larks. They don't seem to have too much on them. That was very much what I was expecting to run into also, is that you would have some kind of creature like that. And yeah, not so much the case. Probably is a waste to even have the Legion outfits at this point. I don't think we have too many miscellaneous things. Anyways. Yeah. I still really don't want to make the game more difficult for me, but it's pretty obvious that without playing at least on a slightly higher difficulty, you're never really going to need to drink enough Nuka-Colas and Sunset Sarsaparillas to get the caps from them, which is the main goal, at least the secondary goal. I'd say it's probably the secondary goal, really. Just drinking even one Sunset Sarsaparilla will increase your health slowly over several seconds. So you can see in the lower half, I was at about half health, and now it's back up to full. And I drank several, which is actually probably several more than I needed to drink, and I have no idea if they even actually stack. You did see in Fallout 3 more of these kind of picnic areas, car park areas. I don't think Fallout 3 did much with them either. Definitely doesn't feel like there's much here going on. So that was a location that created an encounter, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. And even that is better than a lot of locations. There definitely are about half of these locations where you just enter a place and nothing happens on that first time, whereas it would make sense, particularly if you were trying to convert like a tabletop game to be a game, like to be a video game, it would make sense that there would always be like an encounter. Either it would be like an encounter card or an encounter by rolling a dice and going through a list of pre-written encounters every time you visit an area. That would make a lot of sense if that was the case.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. This is a military outpost. Why are you here?
At least the female rangers don't have mustaches.
Have you ever heard the story of the bomber that crashed into the lake before the war? Supposedly it's mostly intact, even after all that time. For about 10 years now. Toughest training I've ever done, and was the proudest day of my life when I got my ranger badge. Did you know that the first battle at Hoover Dam was won because of the rangers? Legion had the numbers, but we had the skill. Ranger Station Alpha used to be the frontline outpost for NCR. When we moved on to the dam, this station has fallen into more a support role. So long.
Yeah, I still very much suspect we will come back and revisit all of these locations. Here you have another bright red-haired character.
All right. She radioed ahead and mentioned that somebody was coming by. Odd that she'd send a civilian instead of a trooper, though. Just the usual. Legion scouts try to slip across the river a couple of times a week, but they always end up floating downriver with holes in their heads. Ranger Station Alpha. Ranger Lineholm is in command here.
Really not
I'm
getting
really much
anything
of a
by
historian.
dialogue.
The short
by
version
these
is that the
dialogue
Rangers are the
choices.
elite of the NCR military. Best fighters in the wasteland. Don't get killed out there.
There certainly is an opportunity here where you could make the NPC characters like this NCR Ranger, the low-level, unimportant NPC characters. Make them have the generic questions and responses. Interesting, you cannot pick up these cards or this is. I don't know if that's supposed to be chalk or poker chips. It looks like it's probably poker chips. And they're very clean looking. But yeah. If you moved the unimportant dialogue that won't get you any points on the map away to the unimportant characters, and then just had the comms officer have that one line of dialogue where you talk to that, talk about changing the codes, that would be better. I still don't really know where Eddie's quest goes. So now I'm going to just turn around and walk to Repcon headquarters, even though that is a bit of a side quest. And then at that point I may just go straight to Vault 34 and we'll do our first vault. None of it, though.
Hello.
None of it feels like it's been amazing. I do feel like Fallout 3's intro was more interesting than the intro in New Vegas. I think perhaps overall, maybe the writing is a little bit better and more to the point, maybe a little bit less silly in New Vegas. And I do think overall there's probably just less garbage, like pointless things. Yeah. And by not having as many pointless quests like Fallout 3 did, New Vegas probably does have a better feel to it in the abstract when you're thinking of it nostalgically. In reality, I'm not sure there is really that big of a difference. It's hard to say there's that big of a difference when large chunks of this content feels like it has been copy and pasted from Fallout 3. And it's worth throwing out, at least the theory, we will never know for sure, that the content in New Vegas may very well have just been copy and pasted for Fallout 3 itself, and it might be vice versa. It might be a case that Bethesda, even in their own claims of being good at making their own type of games, may not have actually, in a timely manner, been able to finish Fallout 3. They may have brought in Obsidian as a secondary developer, second party developer, and then it may have been a case that Obsidian just reused what they had already programmed before.
Welcome to the 188 Slopping Shop. Like our slogan says, it's better than nothing.
He's gonna talk while drinking, and that voice does not sound like a voice that would match the
Samuel Kerr at your service.
face.
Me and my daughter Michelle run this fine establishment. We came here from Prim about a month past. Doesn't look like much, but it's one hell of a location.
Yeah.
Michelle and I ran a little shop in Prim till a prison break north of town spoiled it for everyone. Goddamn convicts just about shut down I-15. When traffic dried up, we took to our heels to find us some customers. I'm not one to sit around waiting to get saved, and Michelle ain't neither. When 15 shut down, 95 became the route NCR citizens used to get to the Strip, or limp back home, after the Strip's drained them of caps. We get them coming and going. Coming, the suckers flush with caps they saved to gamble on the Strip. And going, the same folks, but now they're losers who'll trade you the shirt off their backs so they don't starve before they make it back home. Add in the troopers marching back and forth from McCarran and the Dam, and well, let's just say we don't misprint. You bet.
So, I imagine he's not going to have anything of major importance. In fact, he has just food. So, I think we would just say no to that. Yeah. I guess you would describe his voice as a hard drinking voice, but in fairness, I would describe that voice as what sounds like a African American's voice.
No offense, but you look like you've traveled a long way down some bad roads. Where'd you come from?
Good Springs, I guess?
Wow, you have come a long way then. I've never been there, but I've met some traders who passed
Notice
that
how
way.
her robe is
Well,
kind of
welcome
clipping through
I'm
her
Veronica.
arm
I live in a
gauntlet.
hole in the ground.
And her arm is clipping through the arm gauntlet.
Well, a bunker, if you want to get technical. I think it sounds more interesting my way. But I'm not there much anymore. I'm usually out here picking up food and supplies for my family, whatever they need. Yeah, I'm not worried. They can handle themselves. But somebody has to get the groceries, know what I mean? And actually these days, I think they'd rather have me out here anyway. But that's a whole other story. So listen, can I ask you something on the level? I had a run-in with this group calling themselves the Brotherhood of Steel. Pretty strange bunch. Do you know anything about them?
So we can't answer with an intelligence response.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem for me. I can't afford anything like that. Hey, so where are you headed anyway?
I guess the Strip.
Ooh, very exciting. Gonna strike it rich, huh? I'll be honest, you're the first person I've run across out here that looks like she can really handle herself. There are places I've never been to that'd be too dangerous for just me. What do you think? Maybe we could travel together, help each other out. Like I said, they can handle themselves. And I'm not the only one getting supplies for them. It's a big family.
I'm gonna say not interested because I don't want to lose Eddie as a companion. I guess.
Good. That's the look I was going for. Trust me on this one, though. You'll be glad you brought me along. If I turn out to be a burden, we can part ways at any time. No hard feelings.
I guess we need the video game experience. So let's say okay. This is probably a mistake, but yeah. Let's say okay.
Now you're talking. One thing you should know first, though. I ask you about the Brotherhood because I'm one of them. I know, but I had to know how you react when I told you. We have made a lot of enemies. You still okay bringing me along? Sure, just don't ever ask me if your outfit makes you look fat. Well, thanks for taking a chance on a naive young girl from California with stars in her eyes and a pneumatic gauntlet on her hand.
Notice how the game has paused here. Veronica's given us the scribe assistant.
Let's hit the road, huh?
So Eddie is possibly not our companion, or we have two companions here. We didn't get any warning that we were going to lose him as the assistant. So now scribe assistant lets you craft workbench. Eddie already did that. Okay. What were we doing before that sidetrack? Eddie, my love, has Enclave log data, so we have a Brotherhood of Steel and an Enclave companion together. Oh, they both are going to follow. Oh, well, I wonder then if that means we could have had even a third companion. This is the daughter of the shopkeeper.
Welcome to the 188 Slop and Shop. How can I help you? Name's Michelle. My dad and me run this store. His
I'm
name's
standing
Samuel.
at a high
I take the day
odd
shift
angle.
and he takes nights. We came here about a month ago when Prim went to hell on account of the... There's more to the 188 than meets the eye. Troops move back and forth. No shortage of custom. You do know these old roads were numbered, right? Not much.
We'll just exhaust all
I hear
these
some
dialogues
folks got
quicker.
killed down. Have a look.
She's got bullets. So I could buy bullets.
Later.
Maybe they making her a little bit shorter to make her look like a teenager or a young adult. Okay, what were we doing? So easy to get distracted. I guess we're going to investigate the 188 a little bit further. Arms merchant, Alexander. Let's talk to Alexander and see what
anti-material rifles can do to a death claw. Is there some reason I should be talking to you?
Let's see. Is he a gun runner?
Like you have a clue what that even means. The gun runners have been putting rapid-fire death dealing in the hands of anyone who needed to defend himself for over a century. We're the NCR's #1 supplier of weapons and ammunition. You might call us an unofficial branch of the army. I'm a salesman. I swing through McCarran and the Dam once a week or so to take orders. But lately, I spend most of my time in this piss heap. Ever since the 15 shut down, all caravans come through here, right to me. I check the stock and direct deliveries onward to meet orders. Sure, it stinks to hang out here, but it won't be forever. Plus, I can afford a monthly bender on the strip and still build up my nest egg. Not much to tell. A Brahmin or two loaded up with weapons, and a whole mess of well-armed guards to make sure it ends up where it's supposed to. One nifty bit, though. The gun cases are rigged to explode, so trying to loot one of our caravans doesn't do much good. And that's how the NCR stays equipped. The only thing we don't bring in is energy weapons. We used to, but every caravan carrying them was getting ambushed and wiped out. by someone sophisticated enough to know which was which. We think it was the Brotherhood of Steel. Those crazies always go hard for energy weapons. But the NCR would rather pretend they killed all of them. Am I selling? Yeah. Am I selling to you? No. Sorry to hurt your feelings, but you're small time. Move along.
My guns are too low.
You like it any better if I tell you to fuck off?
Alright. Let's talk to arms merchant. See if he actually will sell something.
You a merc? Because you don't look like a... Hell yes, ma'am. Well, not... They mustered me out of... Staff Sergeant, 3rd Platoon Bravo Company. That was a shitstorm, and don't let anybody tell you I didn't. My CO ordered me to flog a couple deserters, and I told him to eat shit. Those kids didn't desert. They just got liquored up on the strip, and I don't know what else the brass expects. Half these kids... Going home didn't feel right.
So some of the story is really interesting, it seems like, but it's just too close to each other. I just want to get to the action faster.
Make sure the new CO is treating them right, and sneak them Anyway, I was always complaining about... So I hooked up with a couple other vets, bribed a gun runner. Now we're supplying grunts, mercs, and anybody else on our side. We don't make much. Vegas is bleeding us dry. We're tossing caps at 100 different problems, while Caesar bides his time and lets us wear ourselves out. This war is gonna bankrupt the NCR, unless we finish off the Legion fast and dirty. We shouldn't be perched up at the dam. We ought to be crossing the Colorado and sticking a boot up Caesar's ass. Sure, no problem.
Well, at least this person will actually sell me things, although it is seemingly very, very expensive things. It's just too many people too close. What I really think I would prefer is to just have, say, somewhere about there, have another stall where a merchant would be. And then have one here. And in between here and somewhere over there, have at least 3 or 4 rad scorpions pop up and fight me. Instead of having non-important NPC characters and important NPC characters all in one location. I don't mind that the location exists. It is nice, bespoke, custom created area, or at least it feels somewhat custom created. But it just overwhelms with the odd pacifistic nature of it. And we have the forecaster. Let's talk to this kid. It's an actual kid. Like, there's no getting around at that time.
Hello, ma'am. I hope you're doing fine today.
I think it's a kid. Might be a robot.
I don't have a mama or papa anymore. I see them sometimes when I take off my medicine, but they can't stay. I'm pretty used to being on my own.
Sounds like he's crazy.
Oh, I don't sell things, ma'am. I sell thoughts.
Interesting. What thoughts do you sell?
I can take off my medicine and do some thinking. People say it's real interesting. I don't know, because I never hear it. Some people say that it's a gift. Other people say it's the kind of thinking anyone could do if they watched more than they talked. I don't know which is true. I see a lot. I think a lot. There's a lot to hear through the 188, too. That maybe accounts for the thinking. This thing on my head is headache medicine. It works real good, except I can't think when it's on. Really think, I mean. That's not junk. That's other people's thoughts. People had to think to make them, and the thoughts got stuck inside. I need other people's thoughts to fill my head when I'm not thinking myself. Otherwise, it's kind of empty.
Would he sell the headache, man?
Thinking hurts you too? Aw, I wish I could let you have the one on my head, but I can't. It hurts real bad when I don't wear it.
So what is this really going to do? I mean, you kind of have to pay 100 caps. I would assume what this is probably going to do is just tell me a location on the map to go and do something.
Great! What do you want me to think about? I can think about you, here, or everywhere. What do you want?
Let's see. Let's think about me.
Okay. Let me take off my medicine. Your face does the thinking. 2 to the skull, yet 1 gets up. Odds are against you, but they're just numbers after the 2 to 1. You're playing the hand you've been dealt, but you don't let it rest. You shuffle and stack. And a gamble. A gamble that may pay off, but how? Forecast? Rapidly changing conditions. A lot of thinking. Most of it in your face. It's almost shouting at me. Sorry if I said anything weird.
It's funny, he didn't take the helmet off to say any of that, and I don't think I can really take too much from that. Maybe he's telling me how to gamble when we get into Vegas.
Oh, I don't know anything, ma'am. I just think it, and then I don't.
What's weird is this introduces the idea of like psychics or magic, and in this Fallout universe, I kind of don't want those to exist.
Sure, I could do some more thinking. What should I do my thinking about this time?
Well, seems like we can't do me again.
Let me take off my medicine. Bull and bear over the dam, at each other's throats. But a light from Vegas? Balls spinning on the wheel, more than 2 at the table, placing bets. All lose in different ways. A dam of corpses, towns of corpses, scattered across the sand. But whose? In what shares? Even the dealer doesn't know. Forecast, a rain of blood will flood the desert and not purify it. Blah. Thinking about everywhere always makes me feel a little sick. Sure, I could do some more thinking. I need to take off my medicine. Local. The here and now. Little of interest. Things to buy. False hopes and regrets watered down, washed down in dirty glasses. With regret comes a girl, smiling sad, brown robe, name Veronica. Half here, wraps her and her heart up like a pack. In the pack, a key, some say. Forecast, cloudy with a chance of friendship. Ouch! Thinking small only hurts a little, but it's a sharp pain. Sorry, ma'am. All that thinking has made my head hurt. I don't think I'll be doing any thinking for a long time.
So, if it really feels like if you were going to have a character like this, you should have probably done that. I haven't seen any damaged guard gnomes anywhere else. Way earlier in the game. Here's Veronica, who he was talking about. Yep. See, that feels like that is something that could have been in a demo or a vertical slice in pitching the game, and it makes very little sense to be so far in the game. Like, it feels to me we are very, very far in this game with just all the locations we've unlocked. Somewhere probably approaching 2/3 of the way done. And let's continue working our way towards the Repcon headquarters. Here we can see a caravan. We've seen considerably few caravans, and I'd like to see more on the road.
Hey there. Need anything? Sure. Here's what I've got.
But the balance is kind of still broken in that I don't have really enough items or enough caps to go wild buying the gunrunner's arsenal style weapons, or even buying different bullets. That whole system really is broken. Just hoping here that we could upgrade one of those with the other. I suspect Veronica may be a werewolf, which there are weird mutant characters. That's some odd music playing in the background, implying to me something should happen that's spooky. We haven't seen anything actually scary in this game, or even mysterious. But yeah, there are cannibals in Fallout 3. I think you could have either become a vampire or something like a vampire, and so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a werewolf. A lot of what Fallout is doing is just trying to find a nuka-punk twist on what would be the same gameplay mechanics and programming of Skyrim, which is in a fantasy universe. And so it totally makes sense that in a fantasy universe there would be vampires and werewolves. And it doesn't fully make sense that there'd be vampires and werewolves in the Fallout universe. But there are mutants of other kinds, so it's not that crazy. But they do a decent enough job explaining it away. So this whole section is not considered anything by the looks of it. And it seems to me like this is kind of just buildings. Thought I saw something there. It was just a plant. The discovery areas are still too fine. Let's just make sure this is not an aggressive robot. Let's just talk to the maintenance robot. Nothing. Now in the Fallout TV series, they show you the human that they paid to make the voice for these maintenance robots. It is a cameo. That is one thing I would say. Well, are these guys coming to attack me, or are they just running through?
Retribution.
So is this the way, I guess, that you finally start to get more action in the game? Is that you just have enough people mad at you, at least on the Legion's side, so that they will send out assassins. Several different types of armor, but Not gonna worry about it too much. I could probably give her some kind of outfit. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up holding a bunch of outfits myself. Let's see. I could definitely wear the faction armor, but if I wore the faction armor, people would be mad at me for doing it. Should be wearing this armor anyways, more cruiser armor, but it doesn't have the same defense. We'll see if he can take at least the helmets. I was picking up kind of a lot of garbage. And we should drink some of the other stuff. I wish in this menu you could hit a button to just go ahead and drink some sunset sarsaparillas. See, I don't know if we really have any miscellaneous stuff. So let's talk to Veronica. It is the same inventory.
What's up?
Craft something.
Step into my office. Ooh, got something good for me? Is it a dress?
She's unable to wear that either. No line of dialogue actually spoken there. Apparently I stole that at some point, so by stealing that, it's still stealing it, always. So there's a decent chance that there's nightkin in this area, or ghouls, or just rad roaches. Noticeably, we haven't really seen a lot of rad roaches. There's more buildings that way to investigate. I would lean towards assuming maybe there's just robots here.
How may I serve you, mistress?
And so going in here may just convince Protectrons to attack me. We haven't really fought a lot of Protectrons either. Okay. So that looks like this is a great place to save. We're doing like hour 45-minute episodes, and in these hour 45 episodes, it is still very much a case where let's just drink a couple of those. We're not focusing in on one quest, really. We're getting a few more places on the maps by talking to people, and we're moving the main story forward, I guess, a little bit. if we had the radios, we'd be even more distracted. And, like, almost certainly there are some random encounters that if I had just turned on the radio, it would point me to random encounters. Otherwise, the first random encounter we've really had in this game has been just the Legion assassins. Our special is hopefully going up higher. We now have 2 snow globes, so I would assume the snow globes automatically activate in... No, the snow globes only give you caps when you place them in your house in New Vegas, which we haven't reached yet, so still really haven't done anything with that. Getting lockpick or science up to 75. Probably getting a lockpick up to 75 should be a continued focus. Instead of maybe getting speech. Well, speech is probably a good second focus. We're not getting a lot of perks because we're trying to do intensive training, which overall will give you just better stats and is probably the better perks to take. It does feel like in the past couple episodes we have introduced a new couple of groups. I guess it really was just a Great Cons though. We can see Radio New Vegas as a radio that probably only comes in when you are in a decent distance from New Vegas. Yeah. So that right now it definitely feels like the one quest line that would be interesting would be the main quest line, and so far I don't really feel like even that is that interesting. So yeah, I'm still very bemused as to why so many people sung the praises of Fallout New Vegas. Of course, certainly I am looking at this game in 2024 and not when it came out in like 2009, so back at that point it might have been groundbreaking and revolutionary and great, but in retrospective it may just not stand up to my memory, stand up in comparison to so many other great games that have come out since then. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.